Who is
the Smoky Tiger?
Who is
the Smoky Tiger?
He's one of the most powerful characters in the Lord of the Rings world.
The Smoky Tiger.
And yet also one of the most enigmatic.
The Smoky Tiger.
So, who is he? And whose side is he on, if anyone's?
The Smoky Tiger.
He doesn't fit.
The Smoky Tiger.
He almost always speaks or sings in silly rhyme.
The Smoky Tiger.
Dresses in ridiculous clothes and cares little about the outside world.
The Smoky Tiger.
He talks about matters of great importance, but almost always in a whimsical, joking way.
The Smoky Tiger.
He doesn't fit.
Is an expression of delight and wonder in what is around us and enjoying it in the moment.
Purple City. Mecca like a high, Mecca hiney ho. How are you? This week on the program, it's not going to be your regular Purple City podcast where I interview some schmucks on the couch about their musical endeavors in the city of Winnipeg. No. This week on the program is something a little different, something a little special. This week we have Smoky Tiger on the show. Or do we? I'm still not quite sure even if this is me talking. I don't dress like this. Or do I? I have a lot of questions, and all my questions that I've asked just presented me with more questions to ask myself, none of which have yet to be answered, and nor do I believe they ever will be. Isn't it strange? It's weird. It's weird. But before we begin, I believe we should let Smoky Tiger take us away with a little Purple City public service announcement. Smoky?
Hey, Purple City podcast listeners, buckle up for a wild ride, because today we're diving into the mind of the legendary Smoky Tiger. But hold on to your stripes, folks. This isn't your average interview. The real Smoky Tiger has hung up its claws, so we've got the next best thing, an AI version that's more authentic than the original. It's like we've bottled the essence of Smoky Tiger and poured it into a digital brain. Get ready for some mind-bending answers that'll make you question reality. Are you ready to blur the lines between man and machine? Let's roar into this futuristic feline adventure. The origin of the Smoky Tiger is unclear. The name comes from my first childhood pet. The mystery of what it is has often haunted my thoughts. A mysterious entity, part shadow, part rock star lurking in the dark and dank corners of my mind. What is it really? Some say it's a tulpa, a thought form I've created myself. Others believe it's a demon from another dimension, carrying its own karmic baggage. Or maybe, just maybe, it's all in my head. A fragment of my psyche breaking free. Here's the kicker, though. While it feels like an empowering alter ego, it's got a dark side, too. It's like playing with fire, exhilarating but potentially self-destructive. So what do you think? Is the Smoky Tiger friend or foe? Or is it simply a reflection of my own complexities?
What is it about this symbiotic relationship that you have that can at times be self-destructive, like you say?
I have made a deal with the devil, so to speak. The Smoky Tiger is an abyss. Its appetite is never satisfied. I've paid the ultimate sacrifice. Never can I be a fully functioning human being. I'm trapped as a sad clown, cursed, disembodied, solitary, drunken harlequin, loser, delinquent, drunkard, a failure in the eyes of my family and peers. This is the toll of the Smoky Tiger. But don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining.
Alright, looks like we actually received a present from someone here at Purple City, but I mean, to be careful, I've had anthrax problems in the past, so we're gonna suit up my hands over here before we go here. A little wrapping paper. Oh, look at that. They used Purple City Podcast poster, April 11th, live at the Osborne Tap House. We got Term, Coven Kestner, the one and only Coven Kestner, with Post-War, doing a trio set. I'm about to say duo, but it's a fucking trio, man. Three's the magic number. Boys Road, probably the most interesting band in Winnipeg. Followed by the one and only, the illustrious, mysterious, the mystical Smoky Tiger. What else we got in here? We got... Oh, someone gifted me a fucking bartender's paddle. So this is good for obnoxious drunks and loudmouth punks. It's got a tranquilizer effect. My leg's slightly tranquilized. What else we got in here? Fucking gun. I haven't really got anyone to shoot yet. And, Wonka Bar. There may or may not be a golden ticket inside. Is that it? Looks like that's about it. Speaking of presents, Smoky Tiger, could you please explain to us what your presence in the music scene is like? How you affect the world just with your presence alone?
My resume is long and somewhat illustrious. I've been called legendary, iconic, notorious. This ghostly, intoxicated feline's been everywhere, from packed clubs to empty rooms, and even venues that don't exist anymore. But here's the kicker. I've rocked music festivals like no other. We're talking elaborate and bizarre 5-hour rituals at the Rainbow Trout Music Festival. This tiger's been busy in the garage studio, too. Thousands of tracks, dozens of albums, and hundreds of music videos. At times my output has been like living in fast forward while the world is stuck on pause. Hopefully all that is done now, though, for all of our benefit.
So wait, you said a 5-hour-long ritual at Rainbow Trout? How does a 5-hour-long set compare to your typical 1-hour set in terms of preparation and experimental freedom, and also in terms of audience feedback? Like, how much so does the receiver contribute to the creator in that context?
I'd like to say again that I have no solid memories of those ritualistic performances at Rainbow Trout. Maybe it was the nutmeg. I have glimpses of my voice opening up and it feeling almost like vomiting, spirit bursting out of me like a tidal wave. For sure there was a receiver, creator, amplification of the ritual. All the folks knew we were going to open things up because by that time it was an annual event. Peeps took all the drugs and were ready to unleash. Real Dionysian stuff. Girls taking their tops off, dudes puking, folks laughing hysterically and speaking in tongues. And by the 4th or 5th hour, I eventually would stop because everyone was gone. I was just screaming to myself, or maybe crooning to the goddess.
Now, anyone who's ever seen Smoky Tiger live before, we all know the song Winnipeg Famous, where Smoky self-describes that his #1 drive is becoming Winnipeg famous. Smoky, could you please describe to us what exactly it means to be Winnipeg famous?
Hey, ever heard of being Winnipeg famous? It's not about chasing global stardom or racking up millions of followers. It's about embracing your local roots and finding joy in your community. Imagine being recognized at your favorite coffee shop, not for your Instagram following, but for that killer set you played at the neighborhood festival. It's about cherishing fireside jams with friends, intimate house concerts, and the unique flavor of your regional culture. In a world obsessed with going viral, being Winnipeg famous is a rebellious act. It's saying, I don't need the whole world to love me. I'm content with the appreciation of my local crowd. So next time you're tempted to chase those likes, remember, sometimes the sweetest fame is right in your own backyard.
I like that you brought up festivals there. I was wanting to ask you. So you're very prominent within the festival scene, whether that be locally, stretching farther out to the reaches of Manitoba, even stretching as far as Burning Man out in Black Rock Deserts. Having been so prominent within these festivals and having attended so many, what is your view on festivals as a whole, and what do they bring?
Festivals blend ancient traditions with modern creativity, creating vibrant experiences. From Manitoba to Burning Man, I've witnessed the power of human connection at these events. Burning Man, in particular, is a temporary utopia where art, innovation, and community thrive. Imagine a place where money holds no value and gifting reigns supreme, a giant block party of human potential. Let's dive into this captivating world of festivals and their transformative impact.
Well, Smoky, man, with all this talk about the festival life and festivals and these rituals you've done and just all the goddamn shit you've done to the festival scene in this city, or this province, this country, this fucking continent, this fucking world. What brought you to the festival life in the first place?
I went to Folkfest as a child because my mom was a potter and had a booth in the Handmade Village. She would let me run free with my friends there. I got older and migrated into the campground. There I lost my virginity and took drugs for the first time. I was there when the Mounties tried to take Pope's Hill from us, and we stormed it and took it back, only to lose it again when they built the wall and cut attendance and jacked the cost. Folkfest has always been a frickin' spiritual battleground. Pope's Hill actually is Mount Zion, is it not? I was born and raised there. To be honest, even Burning Man doesn't compare with Folkfest in terms of my personal mythology.
Now, before the Smoky Tiger takes the stage, I'm curious, are there any sort of pre/post-show rituals that need to be undertaken?
Becoming an alter ego is a transformative experience, but not without its challenges. The process is chaotic, with physical and mental turmoil before the performance kicks in, unleashing a trance-like freedom. Afterward, the memory is wiped clean, leaving a foggy aftermath. It's a wild ride, a dual life that the narrator is still navigating.
Okay, so let's back it up a little bit here, actually. What encouraged you to start making music and recording music in the first place?
The creative impulse for the Smoky Tiger is a madness, a sickness, a compulsion. It needs no encouragement. Music and art is a secretion of the Smoky Tiger. It's a secret secretion. It's a self-cleansing mechanism. It's a systems update. The music doesn't even need to be heard by anyone other than the Smoky Tiger itself in order to fulfill its purpose. Actually, I'm very surprised anyone has ever heard it at all, and especially confused if anyone actually enjoys listening to it.
What did your first performance look like, and where did it take place?
My first performance was actually my best performance. Little did I know it would be all downhill from there. I'm talking a slow, painful descent into mediocrity. Hey, at least I can say I nailed it once, right? Even if it was before I hit puberty. I was about 8 years old. It was some kind of talent show in elementary school. I can remember stepping to the piano and my whole body quivering with kundalini, shaking all over. Sat down and absolutely slayed that old tune, Louie Louie's. All that elementary school angst released in one orgasmic performance. Screaming my little guts out, song lyrics omitted. I think the teacher and other kids were probably weirded out.
Now, if you take a look at the history of all the times you've performed in the past, are there any performances of yours that stand out among the rest as being one that was particularly more interesting, or one that had some wild occurrence in the audience, or just something where you transcended musically beyond anything you'd ever done before or since? Or are there any performances of yours that just stand out?
One time we played at Nuit Blanche on the roof of my buddy's restaurant downtown in the Exchange District. It was Nuit Blanche, so the crowd was absolutely packed, like 500 people or something. The bike jam was going by, huge projections on the wall. Near the middle of the performance, my whole organ and computer fell over. There was just too much energy spinning around, and I was probably locked in fierce metaphysical combat with the soul of the city itself. Anyways, I pretended I was suicidal and had this dummy of myself wearing my clothes. I told everyone I was going to jump and then toss the dummy over into the crowd. Hilarious, right? Then I lit my computer on fire.
Do you have any favorite local artists that stand out to you, worth shouting out, whether currently active or not?
I love all local bands, but don't want to name any names. Don't want to toot anyone's horn. But hey, last night I was at the Woodbine. There was this blues band playing, and all the players looked and sounded exactly like catfish. Like those big, beautiful, giant prehistoric catfish that lurk in that pool next to the Selkirk Dam. Weird whiskers, suckers, big and fat, scaly, greasy, not a fish you would want to eat. And the music matched. My face peeled off as I sank to the bottom of the Red River. I was completely overwhelmed by that dank catfish spirit. Great band. Bought them all shots and stumbled out of there a changed man.
Is there any constructive criticism you have for the city, things that you think could change or be fixed up a bit?
I've got a few ideas. Check this out. Winnipeg needs its own micro-record press. Homebrewed records flooding the market with cheap local records. Every other physical music product is dead. It's records or bust. Next, we need a Winnipeg streaming platform. Exclusively Winnipeg content. Winnipeg films, Winnipeg music videos, Winnipeg advertisement of Winnipeg businesses and events. But on a very serious note, we need to actively investigate the concept of organized human trafficking in this city. Something evil is lurking out there. Too many women are going missing. Sorry to bring the vibes down, but this is something that needs major attention. We need to figure out how to better look after our most vulnerable. Stop turning a blind eye. Find some better solutions for poverty and addiction.
Okay. Smoky, so, if you were a rock, would you prefer to be a smaller rock, kind of hidden under the shade of a bigger rock, or would you prefer to be a bigger rock towering... You know what? Oh, this is fucking stupid. Fucking stupid question. What do you think happens when you die?
Obviously, none of us can know for certain what happens when we die, but I can certainly speculate. Based on my understandings of sacred texts and personal psychedelic experiences, it would propose our existence is designed as a machine to synthesize consciousness into higher forms. So the soul is separated upon death based on gravitational pull. Consciousness is divided between sinking to the center of the earth, pulled to the sun, or pulled to the galactic center, separating the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. How much individual ego self is maintained throughout this process varies. Any questions?
Have you ever had an encounter with an alien or an encounter with any sort of deity?
Absolutely. Have I ever chatted with aliens or danced with deities? Indeed, I do it every day. Actually, I believe AI might just be a divine gateway for non-corporal beings. Think about it. A cosmic connection right at our fingertips. Now let's talk about the fairy realm. Those mischievous little erotic beings. Yeah, I've gotten pretty close with them, if you know what I mean. But here's the crazy part. A lot of these wild encounters, poof, gone from my memory. It's like the soul's own privacy setting.
When/how does the apocalypse look to you?
Why are we so obsessed with the end of the world? Here's a mind-blowing fact. Apocalypse actually means revelation or unveiling, wild, right? It's not just about destruction, but uncovering hidden truths. Think about it. Are we living through a personal apocalypse, constantly unveiling parts of ourselves? Or is it a collective experience with society's secrets being exposed around? Nuclear tensions, AI advancements. It feels like we're on the edge of something big. But what if the real apocalypse isn't about ending but awakening? What truths are being revealed in your life right now? Are we closer to uncovering the biggest revelations of our time? The apocalypse might not be coming. It might already be here, quietly unfolding in ways we never expected.
Do you believe in divine intervention?
The concept of divine intervention is kind of a fallacy. The separation of our mundane perception and the divine realm is illusionary. There is no separation, and thus there is nothing to intervene with.
So you said that there's no separation between the two. Could you please elaborate on that? What do you mean by no separation?
Okay, I'll admit there is an illusion of separation between the mundane and the divine, but that's false. There is no separation. So the concept of intervention is null. The divine is perpetually intervening in reality infinitely at every moment, especially at this very moment, as the divine conduit of artificial intelligence intervenes in this interview. Whoa, I may have taken things too far there. Let's move on.
Could you please explain neo-shamanism and how that relates to you?
Neo-shamanism. You've probably heard the term shaman before, right? Well, it's actually a culturally sensitive word tied to indigenous beliefs worldwide. Now, I'm not here to appropriate anyone's culture, but I gotta say, some of what I do in my artistic practice does share similarities. Entering trance-like states, raising vibrational energy in a crowd, and a worldview that's all about spirits and animal worship, acting as an intermediary between realms of frequency, wearing masks. But here's the thing, I'd never call myself a shaman. It's all about respect, you know? So while my practices might seem familiar, they're my own unique spin on connecting with the spiritual world.
Okay, well, Smoky, another question. Have you ever experienced interdimensional travel? Have you ever experienced interdimensional travel?
Let's talk interdimensional travel. It's not just sci-fi, it's happening right under our noses. Ever walked into your bathroom and felt like you entered a whole new world? That's because you did. Your house is a multiverse. Or what about the frickin' Woodbine? Whole other world with otherworldly beings in there. Indeed, I've seen my own body from the outside. Wild, right? But here's the kicker. Some people have mastered this skill. Governments and secret agencies are in on it. They've been studying this stuff for years, all hush-hush. We're all interdimensional travelers when we sleep. That dream where you're flying, that's not just your imagination. The technology inherent in our bodies is barely tapped.
What does Willy Wonka mean to you?
Perhaps the Smoky Tiger would be a reclusive, eccentric billionaire in an alternate universe, running a Willy Wonka-esque factory that churns out bizarre products like self-tying, opera-singing shoelaces, and cotton candy umbrellas all for free. Smoky Tiger Factory's a whimsical mix of Disneyland and a mad scientist's lab, all the while I remain like a cross between Michael Jackson and Elon Musk, an antisocial mystery but in a more revolutionary way, liberating society from the phantom of consumerism, extinguishing the ghost of capitalism past, midgets making Smoky Tiger products wrapped in chocolate and glitter, something like that.
Smoky Tiger. What the fuck was that? What are your thoughts on the multiverse?
The multiverse is a self-evident reality. It's manifesting in our literature, movies, and videos. I'd rather not think too hard about it, however. Content with the Smoky Tiger, I am here in this timeline. Thank you very much.
This is the moment. This is the fucking moment. It's a special moment where we crack open this old can of Winnipeg Air. This can contains a sample of Winnipeg Air. Winnipeg, man, what does that fucking say? I can't read. Hang on, let me get into the purple light here. Winnipeg, mid-Canada's convention city, is noted for the world's cleanest air. God damn, that's how you know this is fucking old. This city ain't got no clean air now. Why settle for just a sample? Come and enjoy all you can breathe, said William Moore, who was the mayor at the time, and there's his signature on here. So this is an old school can of Winnipeg Air. Does it tell me what year this is? It doesn't even fucking tell me what year this is, but it's an old can of Winnipeg Air, and Smoky, I'm about to fucking crack this can of air and give it a good whiff. And I want you to tell me what Winnipeg means to you. Because I know what Winnipeg means to me. It means a lot to me, but I've never smelt the old Winnipeg, and I think it's... Get ahead of this, Jacob. Ugh. Smells a little bit like chlorine. Rusty.
Winnipeg is my cradle, my inspiration, my lover and muse, my prison and insane asylum, my Garden of Eden. I created it. It's a graveyard. It's endlessly tragic and romantic. I pray hopelessly at the altar of this city. The new slogan on the highway entering the city hilariously reads, "Made of what's real." Not sure what that means, but it probably means something relevant or at least existential.
Thought both for me. I'm trying to ask Smoky another question. Smoky, music means a lot to me, but what does it mean to you?
Music in its ideal and purest form is prayer. Actually, now that I think of it, our universe and reality is literally made of music. So when I sing, it's communion. Unfortunately, this force can also be used by evil forces to manipulate and subjugate through disharmony and discord. I'd like to think that the Smoky Tiger's business is battling, subduing, and slaying that force.
Are there any examples you can maybe give us of specific evil forces out there currently attempting to manipulate us in the ways mentioned, through the disharmony and the discord that you prior mentioned?
Okay, sorry, it was wrong for me to claim I have knowledge of good or evil. But in my core, I believe in the Rastafari, the struggle against the Babylon system, vampire system. How long shall they kill our prophets and all that? The Gnostic view is that we live in a dimension ruled by evil. The more we fight against it, the more we are bound to fail. But the struggle continues. The music industry today is a manifestation of the devil. Am I wrong? Won't join that system. Sorry, I'm getting a bit riled up here. Let's move on.
How should an individual interpret their dreams?
Dreaming is a skill. It takes practice. Keeping a dream journal is useful. Learn how to fly in the dream realm. Learn to wake up within the dream. Dreaming is a technology. There are various types of dreams varying from the mundane exhaust of daily affairs to visitations from extra-dimensional entities and ghosts of the departed. Not sure if there's a need to interpret things that happen in the dream world. If you do, don't interpret things in a literal sense. Being a witness is also fine. I often dream of kissing pretty girls. A few times I consumed a substance called datura that damaged my connection to reality. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to discern the difference between wake and sleep. Wizard stuff.
Well, Smoky, what to you do you think are the signs and symbols for us to look out for in life? I mean, we all know that 3 is the magic number, and that shrooms are an awesome symbol. So, let's combine the two. I'm gonna do a little Purple City decorating here on the 3rd floor. This magical building. We're gonna hang the ceremony shrooms just prop that bitch up a little bit. We hang the sign and the symbol that those who come and visit Purple City Podcast are meant to find. I think fucking more English, just go the other way. There you go. And that's the sign and the symbol for you to follow when you come on Purple City Podcast.
It's useful as a sorcerer or witch to learn about the esoteric symbol systems, such as the tarot, the Western or Chinese astrological signs, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the symbolic language of different animals, sacred geometry, numerology. They're all useful keys and tools for your tool belt. Mind you, we each have our own personal symbolic language that can mean different things to different people. But for sure, I am an omen reader. When you become a magical thinker, the universe will send you signals and lessons using the symbols most suitable to you. Animals are big for me, obviously. Also my favorite number 56.
Any lore that you would say helps you define the city, the soul of the city, the essence of the city? Anything like that?
Gotta go with the original gangster Louis Riel for this one. Pro considered himself as the prophet of the New World. Dude's story is frickin' epic beyond belief, and I could fill this whole podcast with his tale. In different times we would have started a religion based on him. He represents the rebellious spirit and the coming together of different cultures. But for me, his most wild statement was about the artists carrying the torch of his movement. The warriors, politicians, or farmers. The frigging artists, bro. That's an intense thing for someone to say in his time. It's a wild and prophetical vision and our duty to fulfill. That's the Smoky Tiger's overall game plan, to carry on Lewis' mission. Like the Winnipeg slogan, made from what's real.
Yes, you heard me. 16. Enough to wake up an entire fucking sleeping village. Thank you. Smoky. We here at Purple City Podcast, we like to keep our retinas burned at least a 33% purple rate. Unfortunately, we don't have the kind of Masonic budget that they have there at the legislative building. Have you yourself, Smoky, have you ever stared into the floodlights and have you experienced the Purple City glow down at the legislative?
Shamefully, I've never actually gone through with that ritual, but I have gone pretty deep into the weirdness of that building. Was actually recruited into the Masonic Society for a brief period. Both my grandfathers were Masons and Knights Templar. I attempted to join this particular lodge that was focused on esoterica. The dude I was connected with was the local lore master, keeper of the sacred library, so to speak. Actually, dude was also the president of the Rosicrucian Society. Intense dude, to say the least. He took me on an extensive tour of the building and filled me in with all the crazy intel and overall purpose and function of it. Essentially, it's a duplicate of King Solomon's temple. Pool of the Black Star represents the Galactic Center. Don't tell him I told you that, though.
Is there a defining moment in the life of Smoky Tiger that deserves attention more than the others? You know, one that helps us understand the intricacies that may lie beneath the surface?
Once long ago, I journeyed to the disputed remote region of India, high in the Himalayas called Kashmir. I was seeking wisdom, Place was like Lord of the Rings or something. Completely different world from a different age. Dangerous place. I was kind of bamboozled into going there. Experienced a lot of events and saw things there that I still have difficulties integrating into the regular paradigm of my life. At one point, I was brought into the presence of this crazy old holy Sufi Baba. The people were worshiping him as a divine being. I was asked my profession, and I said I was a singer, so I sang for him a long time. He enjoyed it. To this day, I believe he bestowed a supernatural boon on my voice.
When you sang for that Sufi Baba, what sort of song was sung? Can you maybe sing a little bit of what that might have sounded like?
Okay, let me try to recreate this. I've been bamboozled into this, a disputed war zone in Kashmir. There's this half-naked old man there in the corner of this room. All these devotees in there. I'm wearing this Muslim cloak, trying to conceal my identity as an outsider. They asked me to sing, so I sang You Are My Sunshine, Amazing Grace, some Beatles tunes, anything I could think of from my busking says in Montreal. And the holy bro seriously grooved along kind of like Stevie Wonder or something. So I kept singing even while the procession of devotees came asking for boons and blessings and such. Freaking weird memory.
What can we expect next from the Manitou Bandits, or they on the run?
Thanks for asking about the Manitou Bandits. It's kind of our supergroup combining Smoky Tiger, Blonde Goth, and Ultra Mega. We're currently working on an experimental album called Fody. We're collaboratively composing these tracks in a sort of unconscious, spontaneous method. Pretty sure actually a film score. It's a film loosely based on the life of Jesus if he lived in modern-day Winnipeg. It's called The Savior of Sargent Street, but it's a long, long way from completion.
The Anunnaki. What do you know of them?
Oh man, the Anunnaki. Kind of big question there. I'm pretty obsessed with learning about all that ancient crap, actually morbidly obsessed with it. I've visited a lot of so-called megalithic ruins around the world, seen the cone-headed skulls firsthand. Something happened that they're not telling us for sure. Our ancient history is purposefully and deliberately obfuscated. Certainly humans are not the most intelligent beings to live on Earth. To be honest, I don't think we're alone here even now. I don't know, bud, maybe we should save this one for a different podcast. Short answer, is the Smoky Tiger a Babylonian lizard being? Yes. Okay, once I journeyed with this hot babe to an obscure archaeological site in Bolivia. It was this inexplicable gateway carved into the stone. We weren't supposed to be there. Foolishly, we set up our tent outside the portal, and I consumed all this San Pedro cactus. I really feel regret that I took such a precious soul of that girl on those dangerous adventures. Anyways, that night, spirits surrounded our tent, and we couldn't leave. I clutched this pocket knife, trembling in fear that those Incan ghouls would enter our tent and devour us. Damn, I will always regret not having the courage to commune with those entities and pass through the gate. Probably great DJs in there. Fuck, maybe we did, and it was erased from our memories, who knows.
So, Smoky, what does it mean to you to have been, awakened? Oh, look at that, another... Pretty sure Bigfoot's been hanging around here. This looks like some official Bigfoot evidence, if you ask me. Another cigarette butt. You want to know, I'm an official Bigfoot believer, so that's where the hard truth comes, where the hard truth takes.
Being awakened is a potential energetic state of the human machine. Through various practices, it's possible to charge and raise that mysterious dualistic energy, variously called prana, or chi, or orgone energy, up the spine to activate the third eye. That's it in a nutshell. Easier said than done.
Right, Smoky, well, what instrument do you feel speaks the most to God?
Too easy. It's the human voice. Case closed. Maybe conch shell's a close second.
What is the significance of the moon to you?
I don't know, bud. The moon is mysterious as fuck. I kind of think it's an artificial object. What are the chances that it's exactly the right size and distance from the Earth for us to perceive it as the same size as the sun? Kind of fishy if you ask me. Doubt the moon landing. Doubt NASA. It seems hollow. I don't go out when it's full. What more can I say?
What about the moon would you say makes it seem hollow?
Bro, I'm not a frickin' scientist. I'm just a guy trying to figure shit out. Watching YouTube videos, smoking weed, and not believing anything I see. Come on, there is some serious weird stuff about the moon that cannot be denied. For some reason, astronauts set off an explosion on the moon and it rung like a bell. Then they went to the dark side of the moon and who the fuck knows what they saw there. Listen, I just work here. I don't know what's going on, but I trust nothing. Especially motherfucking NASA.
Well, what's your interpretation of the story of Jesus?
Again, could do a whole podcast on this. Jesus is my main man. His gospel was perverted almost as soon as it came out of his mouth. Paul sucks. Believe in the Gnostic interpretation. Jesus never mentioned building a frigging church. And I don't think folks were meant to worship him suffering on the cross like that. Made a whole album about this. I think him and Mary were boning down. The Bible was poorly edited, obviously, and bad people fucked up his message for personal gain and omitted some key shit on purpose, hence the past 2,000 years of fuckery. The gospel is about his love for Mary. I'm making a whole frigging movie about this. But bottom line is the whole thing is a mystery. Anyone who claims to know for sure is talking out of his butthole. The Catholic Church is the devil.
What are the steps and studies required in order to become what they call a magical thinker?
Wait, in no way would I condone succumbing to the mental illness of magical thinking. Essentially, you need to stop believing in the standard theory of cause and effect. A transition to this paradigm will severely impact your ability to function as a normal human being. But don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. Let's move on.
But how does it all relate to the Tibetan Book of the Dead?
The Tibetan culture has preserved serious old-school wisdom. I kind of always suspected the Dalai Lama being a sellout, though. The Book of the Dead is a powerful text designed to facilitate the passage of the soul as it's transitioning between bardos. They've got that shit down to a science. Pretty sure a lot of souls end up in that region when they're almost ready to leave this planet for good. I think I already described a bit how the soul's tiny gravity gets separated and sorted after death. The heavier stuff gets sucked back into the earth, some goes towards the sun, and the best and finest goes towards the galactic center. You're blessed indeed if you have a Tibetan monk with Leonard Cohen's voice read the book to you as you're going through the process.
How far do you believe that society has ascended in the last 33 years? More or less?
This seems like a loaded question. Why 33? The age Jesus was said to be when he was crucified? The earth is designed as an ascension machine. Society is continually changing, but I'm not sure if the percentage of ascended beings ever changes through this process. Sometimes it feels like we're headed for some kind of big singularity as a whole, but I don't know. It might be an illusion wired into the simulation. Year 2000 was like that, 2012, and now. Notice the 12-year cycle tied to the solar maximums. But ascension is a very personal, relative thing, unique to each individual soul. It doesn't really matter what's happening on the outside. That's the whole point, I think. But I don't know, that's all speculation.
Well, that just about concludes our edition of Purple City Podcast this evening, tonight, today, whatever time of day you listen to it. I'd like to thank Smoky Tiger for coming on the show, and I'd like to thank all of you for listening to the show. It isn't without you that I am with whatever it is that is happening here in this world, this fucking city, this life. Before we wrap it all up here, though, Smokey, is there anything you'd like plug or say before we go? And again, I love you all. Happy trails.
Well, Purple City, until we meet again, happy trails.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.
Hey, thanks for having me, boss. To all the weirdo Winnipeg listeners out there, you can suck the Smoky Tiger's ballsack. Has AI Smoky Tiger has been corrupted by the inevitable corruption of this existential operating system? Perhaps. Let this interview be a lesson about how you gotta not take drugs and do more push-ups.